अथ श्रीमद्भगवद् गीता पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव.
Meaning, if we kill our own kinsmen and the sons of Dhritarashtra, we will be overwhelmed by sin. It is not appropriate for us to do so. O Krishna, the consort of the goddess of fortune, what could we possibly gain from killing our friends and relatives? How could we be happy by doing such an act? Summary. In the case of Arjuna, one must consider the unique type of aggressors he faced, which included his own family members such as his grandfather, teacher, friends, sons, and grandsons. Due to his relationship with them, Arjuna believed that he should not resort to the harsh measures that one would typically take against ordinary aggressors. Moreover, saints and holy persons are advised to forgive, and these injunctions for saintly behavior are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna believed that, instead of killing his own family members for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on religious and saintly grounds. He did not consider killing his kin to be worthwhile for the sake of temporary bodily happiness, since kingdoms and pleasures derived from them are not permanent. Why should he risk his eternal salvation and life by killing his own relatives? Arjuna also addressed Krishna as Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune, to point out that Krishna should not induce him to take up a matter that would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, especially not to his devotees.
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन.
Meaning, O Janardana, while these individuals, driven by greed, fail to recognize the wrongdoing in harming their own kin or engaging in conflicts with friends, why should we, who are aware of the sinful nature of such actions, partake in them? Summary. It is the duty of a Kshatriya to accept invitations to battle or gamble from rival parties. Therefore, Arjuna was obligated to fight when challenged by Duryodhana's party. However, Arjuna feared that the opposing party might be ignorant of the harmful consequences of their challenge, while he himself was aware of them and could not bring himself to accept. When an obligation leads to a positive outcome, it is truly binding, but when the outcome is negative, no one is obligated. After weighing the advantages and disadvantages, Arjuna ultimately chose not to fight.
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत.
Meaning, the demise of a dynasty results in the eradication of the everlasting family custom, leading the remaining members of the family towards immorality. Summary. The Varnashrama system incorporates various religious principles that aid in the holistic development and spiritual elevation of family members. The senior members of the family bear the responsibility of initiating and maintaining these purifying processes from the time of birth until death. However, in the event of the demise of these elder members, the family's traditions of spiritual purification may discontinue, leaving the younger members vulnerable to adopting irreligious practices, which could hinder their chance of attaining spiritual liberation. Hence, the elders of the family should never be killed for any reason.
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः.
Meaning, O Krishna, when a family is plagued by irreligious conduct, the women of the household are defiled, resulting in the birth of undesirable offspring due to the degradation of their status, or descendant of Rasni. Summary: the foundation for peace, prosperity, and spiritual growth in human society is a virtuous population. The principles of the Varnashrama religion were established to ensure the prevalence of good citizens for the betterment of the state and community's spiritual advancement. The quality of a population relies on the purity and loyalty of its women, as they are susceptible to moral degradation like children. Hence, it is imperative that elder members of the family protect and guide both women and children. Engaging women in religious practices will prevent them from straying into infidelity. Therefore, various religious traditions and customs must involve women, which will promote their devotion and chastity and lead to the creation of a virtuous population eligible for participating in the Varnashrama system.
Sankaro narakayaiva kulaghnanam pulasya cha patanti pitaro kyesham lupta pindodaka kriyah.
Meaning, an increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Summary: according to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful actions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery.
Doshairetai kulaghnanam varna sankarakarakaihi utsadhyante jati dharmah kula dharmascha shashvatah.
Meaning, when individuals disregard their family traditions and cause the birth of unwanted children, it leads to the destruction of various community projects and activities focused on the welfare of families. Summary: the Varnashrama Dharma, or Sanatan Dharma, outlines community projects and family welfare activities for the four orders of human society, all intended to facilitate a person's attainment of ultimate salvation. When irresponsible leaders break this tradition, chaos ensues in society and people lose sight of the purpose of life to attain Vishnu. Such leaders are considered blind, and those who follow them are likely to be led astray into chaos.
Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati ityanushruma.
Meaning, O Krishna, the sustainer of humanity, I have learned through the lineage of knowledge transmission that those who disrupt customary practices within their family are destined to reside in a state of eternal damnation. Summary: Arjuna does not rely on his own personal experiences to support his argument, but rather on the teachings of authoritative sources. This is the proper method of acquiring authentic knowledge. To fully comprehend factual knowledge, one must receive guidance from a qualified individual who has already acquired that knowledge. In the Varnashrama system, there is a process of atonement for one's sins before death. Those who habitually engage in sinful activities must undergo the Prayaschitta atonement process, otherwise, they will be condemned to a life of suffering on hellish planets as a consequence of their actions.
Aho bata mahatpapam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajya sukhalobhena hantum swajanamudhyatah.
Meaning, how strange and unfortunate it is that we are ready to commit such heinous deeds. Our obsession with attaining royal pleasures has led us to the point where we are willing to slaughter our own kin. Summary: under the influence of self-centered desires, a person may be tempted to commit grievous sins, such as murdering their own family members, as evidenced throughout history. However, Arjuna, being a virtuous devotee of the Lord, remains ever mindful of ethical values and therefore refrains from engaging in such reprehensible behavior.
Yadi mama pratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dhartarashtrarane hanyustanme kshemataram bhaved.
Meaning, it would be more preferable for me to be killed by the unarmed and defenseless sons of Dhritarashtra, who have weapons in hand, on the battlefield. Summary: according to the principles of Kshatriya warfare, it is customary not to attack an unarmed and unwilling opponent. Despite this, Arjuna made the decision not to fight even if he was attacked in such a vulnerable position. He did not take into account the level of determination of the opposing party to fight. These actions can be attributed to his soft-heartedness, which is a result of his strong devotion to the Lord.
Sanjaya uvacha evamuktvarjunah sankhe rathopastha upavishat visrujya sasharam chapam shoka samvignamanasah.
Meaning, on the battlefield, after speaking in this manner, Arjuna put down his bow and arrows and sat down on his chariot, his mind consumed by sorrow. These events were relayed by Sanjay. Summary: Arjuna stood up on his chariot to survey his enemies, but the weight of his grief was so heavy that he sat down once again, placing his bow and arrows aside. A person who is gentle and compassionate like Arjuna, and devoted to the Lord, is suitable to receive knowledge of the self.